A chance conversation with a peculiar man aboard a train entraps a star tennis player in a conspiracy to commit murder in the 1951 Hitchcock thriller Strangers on a Train. And that's the film we're dusting off this week on Movie Bones.
Marrying the boss's daughter, that makes a nice shortcut to a career, doesn't it?
Can't a fellow look beyond a tennis net without being out for something?
Take it easy, guy. I'm your friend, remember? I like you. I'd do anything for you.
Sure, Bruno.
What did you say her name was? Your wife's?
Miriam.
Miriam, that's it. Miriam Joyce Haynes. Suppose she played around a lot, huh?
Skip it, Bruno.
Want to hear one of my ideas for a perfect murder?
I may be old-fashioned, but I thought murder was against the law.
What is a life for two guys? Some people are better off dead. Like your wife and my father, for instance. Let's say that you'd like to get rid of your wife.
No, let's not.
Let's say. Now, you'd be afraid to kill her. You know why? You'd get caught. And what would trip you up? The motive.
I'm afraid I haven't got time to listen, Bruno.
Listen, it's so simple, too. Two fellows meet accidentally, like you and me. No connection between them at all. Never saw each other before. Each one has somebody that he'd like to get rid of. So, they swap murders.
Swap murders?
Each fellow does the other fellow's murder. Then there's nothing to connect them. Each one has murdered a total stranger. Like, you do my murder, I do yours.
We're coming into my station.
Oh, we do talk the same language, don't we?
Well, sure, Bruno. We talk the same language.
Now, you think my theory's okay, guy? You like it?
Sure, Bruno. Sure. They're all okay.
Yeah, and that's about where I say it's like, I don't care if I have to jump off this train as it's moving. It's like, I am getting out of this room. It's like, I am getting out of here. I have got to go. But I understand the pressure he's under because it's like, it's you ever get into an awkward conversation, Ryan? You know what it's like? You know what that's like?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All the time, because every single job that I have, it's like one awkward conversation after another at times.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and we've all been in there in that situation where it's like you're trapped in the space with someone who is talking in something. It's like you're saying things that are making me extremely uncomfortable right now, and maybe not necessarily murder, but it's like other things just as awkward or almost as awkward. And it's like, why are we talking about this? It's like I would pay money to be not here right now. And so that's basically the setup we've got with Guy. He's a star tennis player, and he's on the train. He runs into this guy named Bruno. And as you heard from the conversation, it's like, it's the perfect way to, if any cop asked you about the nature of the conversation and you just put it into text, it would look like the most incriminating thing ever, And it's almost like sometimes you feel like, I know you're playing along to try and get rid of the guy, but you're also playing along in a way that makes you look absolutely guilty if anyone heard this. So it's like, yeah, I understand it. And at the same time, it's like, please, no, stop.
I want to talk about something different real quick, just very quick. Thinking about this movie, and I was reading your very good notes on this, by the way. Let's talk about chance conversation real quick. So the reason why I say that is because, folks, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of history lesson of Movie Bones. I'm digging up the past on Movie Bones itself.
Uh-oh. Should I be wary of skeletons in my closet all of a sudden? I wonder.
I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
Not. But, I was thinking about this movie earlier today after I got home and just thinking about, like, what, this is what I'm going to be doing next, or one of the things I'm going to be doing next. And what I was thinking about was just like, how chance conversations can lead to things, whether they're good or bad. In this movie, bad, obviously. The Movie Bones itself, what we've been doing for 2 years almost now, that kind of came about in a weird way through just a chance conversation. It's something that this is stuff that you've always been passionate about, and I'm never going to, I'm not going to downplay that whatsoever. But I remember coming to you talking about, because Justin and I, we would meet to talk about things, great conversations. That was not this to begin with.
No.
That was something completely different.
It's like
and
just mutual support.
It's weirdly involved, well, not weirdly, but it's weird. Well, no, weirdly, wonderfully, surprisingly, maybe, all those words that can mean really good things. It evolved into Movie Bones. And one of those conversations was, I had been watching some older films, and I told Justin about it. I said, hey, I've just gotten into older films recently, and I had not even registered the fact that, he's a fan of older films.
Just saying,
and
yeah.
It's just like, I was watching some movies. I would talk to him about it from week to week, and then he came to me with this whole idea, like, let's create this thing, because you'd already had like an idea of doing something like this before. And it's just wild how chance conversations can go from, and like, if we wanted to even dig up even further, like, you're the one that even came to me to begin with about just talking weekend and everything. And it's just wild how chance conversations, putting yourself out there, can lead to things. Now, again, I want to make this very clear. Not a good thing in this movie.
No.
But this was actually, that's the thing though, is like, when I told you about this is one of the first movies that I actually sat down and watched, or
I think I recommended. Didn't I recommend it? I think I recommended it to you. Yeah,
you did. And for the longest time, because I remember watching it and talking about it for the longest time, every time I saw it come across Tubi, I'm sitting there thinking, like, haven't we done an episode on this? We haven't, because we had a conversation about it prior. If we had recorded that conversation, this would have just been a free episode.
All this talk about it's making me think I should have. It's like we should have done this as an anniversary episode. It's like for the second anniversary. Yeah. But I'm fine with it being what it is, because having seen it already for both of us, it does kind of give us kind of a little bit more in depth into the meat of the story. And as far as Hitchcock films go, and folks, you guys who've been listening to us for a while now, it's like, that Hitchcock has been kind of really sporadic. It's kind of like a shotgun blast with us. Hitchcock has this huge name in cinema history, and yet for all the hype of it, it's like he's been kind of all over the map. I will acknowledge the man has real skills, and one of the ones that's most like consistent up and down the line, and everyone, even the ones I don't like, is the cinematography. There are scenes here that kind of achieve something iconic, and in a way that Hitchcock immortalized. There's this scene between Guy and Bruno where they're talking on opposite sides of a gate. And then all of a sudden he's on the same side as Bruno because he's hiding. There's so much symbolic weight in that too. That, which side of the gate they're on. They're arguing the opposite side and they're on the same side, but the way it's framed. And then you have another one where you have there's this tennis match going on. Obviously he's a tennis star, and Guy is under the gun because he feels the weight of Bruno, tailing him wherever he goes. And he looks out into the stands, and everyone else in the stands are watching the ball go back. And, it's a trope of its own. People watching the tennis ball go back and forth, right? And the only motion, there's one motionless face, and it's Bruno's. And you can see it. It works so well, and it's creepy as all get out. But here is it's one of my favorite Hitchcock films in all the aspects of it. So all that cinematography skills gets to be put in service of a story that is genuinely tense and riveting. And it doesn't overstay its welcome. It is one of the best Hitchcock's done, in my opinion.
I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, Bruno.
The trouble with Bruno, isn't the Encanto
we don't
movie?
Talk about. No,
we don't talk about Bruno.
That's a song. Yeah, that's a song from it.
I haven't seen it.
We don't talk about Bruno. No.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to talk about him either if you knew this Bruno either,
Yeah, not the same Bruno by any stretch. There's no similarities other than the names between these two characters.
Goodness sakes.
I guess maybe eccentric ways of thinking. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. He's just this overly, I don't even, it does sometimes when we say things, it doesn't even feel like it's doing justice. He is this overly obsessed person. And he's so obsessed because it's one of those things where he's like, look, spoiler alert, folks. He does what he sets out to do.
Yeah.
He does exactly what he sets out to do, which actually, even though it was a Hitchcock film and I kind of had a suspicion, I kind of suspected it was going to happen, I was still a little bit shocked that it did happen. I don't know why. I remember watching it for the first time and thinking to myself, he actually went through with it. Okay, yeah, it just felt like maybe there'd be like this, we'll be able to stop him and everything. Nope. He did what
No.
he set out to do.
And I will say, it's like, leave it to, I mean, this is one of the things Hitchcock can do. He can pull a mid-act switcheroo on you. You know, that in other movies, the thing you think would be like the thing that you're trying to stop or prevent by the end of the end of the movie, providing the climax. No, this happens in the middle of the movie. So it's like an end-worthy climax in the middle of the movie, and you know there's so much more to go, and it doesn't disappoint. It's not like he stopped it too soon or moved too fast. He did it perfectly. It's like it shows you there's an advantage in writing, I think. You and I both have aspirations to write, don't we? We both have aspirations to write. It goes to show you, I think, that there is a real narrative kind of, I don't know what the word is I'm thinking of. There's a real good thing to be had if you can really amp up your midpoint. Don't wimp out. You know what I'm saying? Don't wimp out. You can go ahead and make something really dramatic happen in the middle. And it should be, you know, but it just kind of goes to show you just what you can do with it. This movie does. And this is another strange thing about the movie, is that he kind of saw the guy as a character, as all good characters do, comes into the story with a problem that needs solved. And Bruno kind of solves it for him. It's a horrible way to do it, but he solves his problem. And that's kind of the problem in itself.
So, again, I think we've talked about this before. One of the other things, and when I say before, as in when we talked about it the first time, one of the other things that I really enjoyed about this movie was what Hitchcock does to the viewer. And what I mean by that, now, for those of you that are not watching it for the first time, or that are watching it for the first time, but have watched this episode first, it won't have that same feeling. So before I say what I'm going to say, I would actually pause at this moment, go watch the film, and then come back and you'll see what I'm talking about. One of the things about this film that I do think actually works is that in its own twisted way, he puts the mirror up to the viewer so that you can see yourself, as he says, you absolutely agree with what Bruno does. You absolutely will agree with Bruno does. And why is that? Because Guy's ex-wife, she's using him. And when you meet this character, you're like, oh my gosh, I hope Bruno does it. And that's the thing. That's the thing, folks. That's one of the biggest, like, knife twisting moments of this movie is you actually are going, okay, I kind of agree that she needs to go. But it's not just because you don't like this character. Obviously, that doesn't mean you get to just be like, you get to agree with Bruno saying some people just deserve to be dead. Just because you don't like the character does not give you the right to ever agree with Bruno and to say some people are just better off dead.
Yeah.
No, because she's still a person. Because she's still,
she still has value. She still has meaning.
She still has value. Even if she's antagonistic to Guy, does not mean she's antagonistic to everybody else.
I will say this. There is one thing that Guy does. It's like when he's talking on the phone with his hope-to-be future relationship spouse. He's talking with her, and it's like, as much as you hate her, I can understand even having a moment of, like, venting, but it's almost like this goes to a bit of a niggling thing with me. And it doesn't kill me. It doesn't kill anything. But it does kind of pricks the hairs up in the back of my head, is that when a character is like, they may go the extra mile to incriminate themselves. Like, they already had the conversation. I excuse it. The conversation was the conversation that we heard. But when he's on the phone with his hope-to-be future spouse, and he's telling her, I wish she was dead, he says it like 3 times, and he yells it. It's like after the first time you think, maybe you got it out of your system, maybe you think better of it. But no, he does it 2 more times. It's like, that's really that is a bit on the nose. That is one of my small critiques of the film. Yeah, go ahead.
It's one of those things where if he would have, what am I trying to say here?
Is it a rewrite? Just
not
kind
really.
of
No, it's not a rewrite. It's just, he wants the person dead. He wants the person dead. The only reason why, you can make an argument that he's actually okay with her being dead. The problem is he just doesn't want to do what Bruno wants him to do.
You think that's an interesting point, because that kind of makes him a different character.
Yeah,
I'm seeing what you're saying.
Let's say if Bruno just came up to him and said, "Hey, I'll get rid of her for you. No strings attached. Nothing. You don't have to do anything for me. You don't have to kill anybody for me. You don't have to pay me any money. Nothing. Zero. Nada. I'll say it. I think Guy says, okay.
Huh. Okay. I mean,
Well, okay, maybe not go as far as to say, okay, I think he considers it heavily. I think there's some kind of scenes where you see him sort of, kind of, maybe toy around with the idea when they're talking. But I mean, ultimately, he's like, no, that's not
yeah.
no, that's not a good idea. But I mean, you could, if he didn't say, hey, you do my murder, I'll do your murder,
What
then
would it
again, you
be?
could actually make an argument the guy is okay with him taking her out.
It is an interesting point because it's like he does entertain things a little bit longer than you think most people would, even if they really didn't like somebody. And so it would change the nature of the story, obviously. Although it's like I haven't ever interpreted it as being what you just said. It would be an interesting way to try and prove a point that even good people can be pushed to, it's like supposedly good people. Where are our moral boundaries? And are they where they should be? Because we can be tempted and pushed by things, by stresses of life to devalue someone who is antagonizing us to a ridiculous degree. It is good to examine those boundaries. So at least as a viewer, I think, to be able to come to a conclusion for ourselves, like, no, I think that serves as a good enough warning. I'm not going to go that far.
Yeah.
That's what it should do. But to examine what the aspects of human nature that are capable of entertaining these thoughts. And in all honesty, really, it's like people do entertain these thoughts a lot more readily than I think we would acknowledge we do. I don't know where I'm going with this exactly, except for to say that, hopefully it's good to know where those lines are because there are those temptations. So to be able to put them in a box and say, no, even if someone were to come up to me and offer me to kill the person or to make sure that person doesn't exist anymore, it would remove the quote unquote problem from my life, that I would reject it out of hand. I would not even entertain the idea. I would not even visualize it in my mind, to be able to get to that point. But to know that, you have to be able to recognize that we have the capacity for it.
I think it's a pretty spot on take. And to agree with you, I will say it is better to recognize those things. And then as you recognize those things, slowly start whittling them away to a point that you're not able to say, or that you are able to say, I wouldn't compromise myself for any amount of money. Just any amount of money. Like, no matter how big or small.
As good as the movie is on its written level, on its acting level, and all the other levels, the special effects I actually like the use of special effects in a very discreet way. Sometimes Hitchcock's effects have kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I think of Vertigo. Have you seen Vertigo?
I don't think I have.
Okay. That one kind of bugged me a little bit. If you ever see it, you might notice it. Maybe we'll watch it on Movie Bones. I don't know. The Vertigo effect itself is kind of distracting. In this one, it's like you have this very subtle use of special effects with the glasses. And he makes it a part of the connection to the story. And it makes the murder more personal because you see Bruno murdering his victim through the glasses of his victim, but it had fallen on the ground. And again, later you see Bruno he sees Barbara's glasses, and that's what brings it back. And he and they use special effects in there too to bring the connection home. You could say it's a little on the nose, but it also is pretty effective too. And of all the times Hitchcock has done that, I think it's best used actually in the more subtle ways here. Foreign Correspondent was, as far as its effects went, was fine with me. I actually got a lot out of that as far as you can get out of getting something out of special effects. But it's like with here, it actually served the story best. And I really like that about it too.
I'm just going to agree with Histon on that one. It kind of reminded me of what you were saying. So we've been actually watching Smallville. You ever watched Smallville before?
I remember Smallville in bits. I really don't. I don't know. I never followed it, on a week-to-week basis.
But there's like this one episode where one of the characters, she's given this ability that she can kind of see through the eyes of this particular other person. The particular other person kind of winds up being a psycho killer. At the end of the TV show, that particular episode, the connection's cut off. Why is the connection cut off? It's because, the guy winds up getting himself taken out by cops. And one of the last things that she sees through his eyes is a bullet flying to his face and everything. And it's just kind of like, it's one of those things that kind of reminded me of that. You're sort of like seeing it through her eyes in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The fact that he thinks about doing something like that in, 1951.
I know, right?
That's the this is another one of those things that just makes this movie really come together. And you've been talking about his cinematography. Even if you don't like his stories, like if you don't like the stories themselves, you get to come out of it appreciating what he does for, the actual film itself.
As a matter of technical craft, in terms of just pure visual storytelling, Hitchcock really is as good as his name has remembered by.
Yeah.
Yeah, Verdicts, man. It's not a perfect film, but this is certainly my favorite of the Hitchcock films so far. And I'm going to go with a trust me on this one because it's not quite perfect, but it does go along a good deal along the way for me for all the reasons I've mentioned.
Yeah, I'm totally fortune and glory with this one. And it's a lot of it is just what it forces you to do as the viewer, and just Robert Walker's performance as Bruno and everything. And it forces you to think that whole thing, like I said before, the whole thing where the mirror is put up to you and then kind of forces you to wrestle with maybe potentially wanting a character to actually get what's coming to her. And I put that in quotation marks, so even though you can't see it, but, forcing you to wrestle with that, I think that's just a really good thing to wrestle with. So, and again, the movie, it'll keep you in suspense. It'll make you feel things, plenty of things. And yeah, I think it's fortune and glory for me.
We're not usually far apart at all, but yeah. So yeah, I think we're pretty much in the same territory. So yeah. Anyway, at this time, we'd like to remind the listening audience out there that if you're having fun with Ryan and I watching these movies together, and you should be watching them with us together because that's a shared adventure part of it. So if you can, please do join us for that part of it too. But if you're having fun doing that, please do like and subscribe, comment, and of course, follow us on your podcast purveyor of choice. Tell us what you think we got wrong, and of course, nominate some films of your own that you'd like us to see do, as long as they're made before 1975. And, as long as they're free on Tubi or some other thing like the Internet Archive. We try to keep it free for our listeners out there. So, and on that note, Ryan, we do have a movie coming up next week. I have seen this one before.
I think I have, and I think it was when I was a kid. So
okay, so a good long time.
Yeah, it's been a good long time. Here's a movie, folks. I don't say that in a bad or any kind of way. But here's a movie. Tubi says a fearless sailor returns to the kingdom of Thessaly after a 20-year voyage to find the Golden Fleece and make his rightful claim to the throne. For those of you fans of Greek myths, you might know this myth itself. I mean, of course, the myth isn't going to go the same way. If I'm correct, this movie has the robot owl, doesn't it?
The robot?
Is it this one? It's like a robot owl.
This is Greek mythology. I'm not sure if there's any robots in this.
No. It's not really a robot per se.
Oh, you mean like a special effect? There is claymation. Yes, I'm pretty sure there's claymation. Yes,
there is like this. There's a mechanical owl in this movie.
Okay, no. I think I know what you're talking about now.
Well, the first one actually.
Yeah. And I wonder though if it's a special. I wonder if it's one of those.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know if it's a machine or if it's I'm betting it's probably another claymation, although it's a different kind. But I'm betting it's probably claymation. But
I just
in any
remember
case,
watching this. This is saying that it's from Clash of the Titans in 1981. Maybe I'm wrong.
That could be too. I could be mixing them up. Yeah.
Anywho, this one is Jason and the Argonauts, and this one's not from 1981.
This goes back a bit further, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of Greek myths, you'll probably enjoy this. But it's starring Todd Armstrong, Honor Blackman, Nigel Green, Douglas Wilmer, and Gary Raymond, and directed by John Chaffee.
And I always kind of get a laugh when someone the lead actor is playing someone who's supposed to be a buff Greek hero or something like that, whether it's Hercules or not. And his actual actor name is Todd Armstrong. Todd Armstrong. And I think back in the 60s, they had a Hercules series of films starring Alan Steele. He's like this really virile name with you got to have a name that's got it's got a hard surface attached to it, So, but it kind of fits in the same kind of mode. But anyway, we should have some fun with this next week. And I have seen this more recently.
I am looking at some pictures of the film.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I am excited about the scene with who I'm assuming is Poseidon.
The one where he's really big and he's holding up the rocks or something?
It's something like that.
Okay, all right.
I can't wait for that particular scene.
All right. Well, something to look forward to for everybody then. All right. So anyway, folks, that's all we got for this week. And so I guess, Ryan, I'll see you next week. And folks, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right, folks. Bye-bye.
In differential calculus, a function is given and the differential is obtained. You understand?
Yes, I understand.
You do?